Today we mourn for the death of one noble horse. A horse who majestically was ridden by the knights of King Verald's castle. They would use him and his brothers to run around. As you see, I don't have him here anymore, because a big ogre threw him in the garbage can. He threw him in the garbage can. The horse met a cockroach. He told me before he died. He met a cockroach in the garbage can. And that is the story. But then, you know what happened to the horse? He got cancer. He got lip cancer. He couldn't neigh, so the knights killed him. Anyway, well, today I was going to talk about how we defend King Verald's castle. First, of course, you need a shield. Shield. Block things. Block my face from the camera. You can't see me. Now you can. No, you can't. That is the shield. Shield. Now, shields were invented in Versailles in approximately year -4321. Shields. You know what happened? There was porcupines who would shoot their needles at people. Porcupines. Shoot needles. They invented a shield to defend against these porcupines on their attacks. Once, in the great battle of King Snorton, there was a porcupine named Ilgerto. He hated people. So you know what they did? They invented shields. They blocked the porcupine's needles, sent them right back at him. That's what shields were invented. Anyway, next, you need helmets. Defend King Verald's castle, you need a helmet. Now, helmets were once used by ogres in the war. Ogre wars. Helmets. The ogres were dumb. They had flimsy, floppity heads, which is why they needed helmets. Helmets were used to block incoming transmissions from aliens, because aliens used to transmit messages into heads. And with the helmet, it blocks it, because helmets are made out of metal. And metal was found in the mountains. And aliens hate mountains, so they can't send the transmissions. Next, you need a sword. Fight off the evil things. Now, swords were invented because things weren't sharp enough. They needed sharper things. Cut butter. But they said, you know what? One time there was a giant shipment of butter, and the regular butter knife wasn't good enough. They needed a sword. They needed to cut the butter for King Verald. Swords were great. You know, I once cut my foot off with a sword, but it grew back because of inhumane circumstances in which I went to a lab and they grew it back. That's my story. No, you need a gun. Guns. They're not good enough yet. As you know that, we have to add everything that I did before, but I'm not going to do that today. I already did that in the second episode. Guns. Shoot dragons. But, you know, dragons, you also need dragons as well. They are ferocious beings. I once raised a dragon from the age of 1. His mother fucking hated him. And she said, you know what, dragon? I'm going to abandon you. So I took him in. He was my son. I nurtured him. I breastfed him. He was great until he breathed fire on the wood houses of Northlorkensnork. He flew down and he breathed fire over everything, and everybody died. Nobody survived. King Verald, you know what he did? He sent in his army of 10 men. They went in and they completely overtook the village. They killed everybody who didn't die from the dragon's fire, because they knew that the dragon knew that the people were evil. So they sent in the more people with the swords and the knights, invented in the previous years to defend against the people. But you know what? Things weren't fast enough. You need faster things. You need ATVs. ATVs are great. You know, I used to rush around on them. ATVs climb over mountains, they run over people. You know, ATVs were invented by Mr. Anotok Torken Velosnaya, which is what ATV stands for. Elotokenavanassol Volkenshire. Now, ATVs are great. You know, I could just like sit on them and ride them around and all this stuff. They're actual size too. You know, King Varold hates to pay too much money, so the kings ride around on the ATVs, hoping that they won't break. Anyways, yep. Now, you know, the football players are so common these days, so King Varold's like, I'm gonna get football players to defend my field. Green footballs. You know what? These are kryptonite. Because sometimes Superman comes to the castle and they need kryptonite to defend against him. They need football players to throw the kryptonite at Superman. Because Superman hates footballs and he hates kryptonite. But kryptonite, they need to do their calculations in the labs. You know what they need for calculations? All these things, these wooden lead eraser things. I don't know what they're called. They never told me. But you know what I use them for? I use them for calculating the angle at which King Varold takes his shit. Because his toilet is perfectly designed. So his shit goes straight into the slaves' dinner bowls. But the pipes need to be angled at certain calculations at which other people don't have. But you know what? Pencils aren't good enough. Football kryptonites aren't good enough. You know what we need? This lamp lady. You know, she's my wife. We once shared a relationship. Her lamp burned my tongue. So we broke up. Now she was really angry at me. They put her outside the castle and she burns, torch, butt people. That's what she does. But you know what's really scary, that people are really scared of these days? Spider-Man. Because he can do what a spider can. And people hate spiders. In fact, there was once a giant spider attack in China, in the fucking Shanghai. The spiders rode in on their legs and they danced. But people hate spider dances. So you know what happened? Spider-Man came. He started dancing, used his webs. He found Superman being scared by kryptonite. You know what else? Spider-Man once fought against Batman, but it was too intense of a battle. So you know what they did? They fought to the death. Now one thing that when there are old men walking around the castle, they get tired often. They need foot canes, sits. You know what? The old gods get tired, so they need canes. But when canes aren't even good enough, you know what they do? They use these chairs. It's not good enough. They sit on them like this. Look at this chair, but it's so unbalancey. They're not ready yet. They're still a prototype. They're called foot chair exercises. Anyways, what you next need? The king's scissors, your majesty. I always give them to the king, because if ever there is criminals, he needs scissors to cut them in half. I give him scissors, your majesty. The scissors, your majesty. And he says, yes, Varold, I know exactly what you need. You need me to scissor cut people, miniature people, because you know, in the land of hell, in Gaw, which is spelled G-A-W, U with the 2 dots, a Y without the dash, so V, but with a line over top, but you only pronounce Gaw, not Ga, Gaw, ancient city. Scissors were invented in Gaw by ogre chieftain Mikolika. Anyways, what you need next is coffee mugs. Because everybody likes coffee, it makes people hyper. It's what the gods use to delusionify themselves. Coffee drinkers were great. In fact, for coffee, you need these black beans. Black bean coffee was invented by the Leaf people of Mostynshire when there wasn't enough coffee to go around. So you know what they did? There was once a dragon who was super unstressed. He was so relaxed. So they gave him black bean coffee. And the dragon turned evil. He grew wings, because dragons didn't used to have wings. They're called lizards. But, another thing, in King Zverald's castle, it's very sunny out. They need, of course, hats. Because the sun's rays in this year are too strong. In fact, I fought against the sun ray once. Those evil sun rays, I used my sword and shined it back at the sun, and he died. That is the story. Next, you need... Give it to me! We already had this thing. But you know what? You need it twice. One on each side. Like always. Great. As I told you, my wife. But she was evil. She teamed up with the evil porcupines. Now, if there is a lot of very hate rockers who's in King Zverald's kingdom, what you need is rock and roll. You need to play the song stuck in your head. Play the song. Everybody's dead. You, and you plus two more. Everybody dies with the rock and roll. Make my song up. Here it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4. King Zverald's castle. You need to make soup for the king. You also need to hunt for chickens. But for the chickens you need your Alkin 100 scope. You also need some baskets to put your stuff in. Now the song ends, and in the end of this episode, you know what's coming next time. Farming techniques for King Zverald's garden. Thank you for watching, my fellow people. Good night and have a good time.